SGA once again. Little hesitation. The left hand. What a move by SGA.
Another block.
Chet Holmgren, the long arm of the law.
In the game. These are key minutes without SGA. And another drive. J-Dom cocks it back and throws it down.
This is Uthart. You're listening to the Uncontested.
What is up, and welcome to the Uncontested podcast, coming to you live Sunday, June 1st, when Thunder basketball is still being played in the month of June. That means NBA Finals.
Look at that graphic there from Justin.
Wow. At the buzzer. At the buzzer. I'm your host for the evening, Jacob Niffen. Got JD Silva with me.
Fellas.
We got Justin Peabody.
Hello, everybody.
We got Taylor Peterson.
Have been battling a cold and allergies this weekend, but the Thunder are in the finals, so no complaints here.
We want to take votes on if Taylor has COVID or not.
I vote yes.
I vote yes.
Super spreader.
Yes.
See you all game one.
Yeah. All right, Rudy Gobert. People in the comments asking where Nick is. Have you guys ever played that game, Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? That's Where in the World is Nick Crane is the game we play frequently. None of us really know. Last I heard, North Korea. We are brought to you by the Blue Wire Podcast Network and our homies over at Prairie Artisan Ales. Justin, what are you slamming tonight?
Little caramel apple treat, because that's what this NBA Finals preview is about to be, is a little treat.
That's a little that artwork is
Can
a little
art?
It's a little
Erotic.
horny.
It's yeah. What's the movie? Flashdance. That's what that is.
There you go.
Not
There you
familiar.
go. Yeah, that was in the in that closed off section of the movie theater, or not the movie theater, but the movie rental place that I went to.
Yikes.
17
Oh, boy.
plus.
What was I going to say? We're brought to you by Blue Wire Podcast Network. I said that. I said we're brought to you by Prairie.
You did.
Follow us on social media.
Yeah.
Join the Discord as we have some bonus stuff coming for you on Finals Week. So Finals Week just hits different when it's a basketball reference and not like the end
Not
of your
a
semester.
college reference.
Yeah. Welcome to Finals Week, folks.
Yeah.
Still as stressful as Finals Week of college.
Yes, but I don't have to do anything. I don't have to perform.
There you go. You can find us on all social media channels. You should also follow us on YouTube. That would be dope. We're going to be live later this week, probably with another Finals preview episode. We are also going to be live right after Game 1 on Thursday and Game 2 on Sunday. So you can join us then as well. And then next week for Games 3 and 4, the Uncontested live from Indianapolis, Indiana.
Woo!
Where we will be at Game 3 and 4. Hopefully, homeboy that stabbed the Knicks fans doesn't stab us as well.
I don't know. Could spice things up.
No, I'm not going to say that. Never mind. The Knicks fans probably asked for it.
Wow. Victim
Asked for the
shaming.
stabbing.
What are
I
you
mean, they
gonna
probably
do,
didn't say like,
stab
"Hey,
me?
would you stab me?"
Listen.
What is he going to
If I
do?
get
Stab me?
stabbed-
Says guy who
Got stabbed.
got stabbed.
If I get stabbed,
All-time meme.
I could open a GoFundMe that might offset the financial strain that Game 3 and 4 tickets are going to cost.
That is true.
We're never going
Look
to
at it on the bright
recover
side.
from this.
That is true. Lots of comments in the chat.
Most
All
about Dave.
90% about Dave.
Most
So
about Dave. One about Silva. We got a super chat out the gate from Colin Reed. Has JD taken charges yet? Game 1 is perfect.
Yes,
must be-
it is.
You must be new here, Colin.
Also, those ticket prices are very expensive.
Yes. Okay, so we got a packed show for you guys tonight. Here's what's on deck. We're going to kick off the show with some trivia, some Prairie Artisan Ales trivia. We are then going to go into a deep dive playoff preview, not a playoff preview, finals
Thank you.
preview.
Put
Dude,
some respect on it.
It's crazy. Like, it still hasn't really
I'm
set
gonna
in
throw
for
up.
me yet.
Agreed.
Finals series preview. We're then going to take some fan Q&A We have some on Twitter. We have some in the Discord. And then those of you in the live chat tonight, if you want to drop your finals-themed questions, we will choose some of our favorites. We will answer them on the show tonight. So drop those questions. We will star them and pull them up later. Then we are going to take a look at our playoff predictions so far. We're going to look at our prophecies from the Western Conference Finals. Then we are going to officially make our finals prediction and our finals prophecies. It's a packed show.
Let's
Buckle
do
up.
it.
It's time to
Buckle
go.
up.
Let's kick this bad boy off with a JD sounder.
Is there a specific one you're looking for? Or...
Fire one off.
This cup
Um,
means something to me, man.
Beautiful.
I don't remember saying
The
that.
Larry O.B. Cup means
Oh,
something
my
to
gosh.
me, man.
I did see a tweet today. The two finals participants are the last two NBA Cup runners-up.
Mm-hmm.
So this cup does mean
Revenge.
something to me. Motivation is what it was.
Yep.
Let's
Win the
dive
cup.
to some Prairie Artisan Ales trivia of the week. Justin, will you tell us a little bit about Prairie?
I would love to tell us about Prairie. Prairie is the best place to watch OKC Thunder games, whether you're stopping in for a beer on your way to Paycom Center or whether you are catching an away game because you can't make it to Indy or you don't want to mortgage your house for tickets. You can get some refreshing Prairie beers for just $3 on game day. They have some new drops. We get some comments. Not everybody loves a sour. I love a sour. But they have some new ones this week that are not sours, so I wanted to highlight. We have a Sea Savant, which is a hazy IPA made with 3 different types of hops and is 7.2% ABV. They also have Caramel Puffed, which is a bourbon barrel-aged imperial stout with caramel, vanilla, and toasted marshmallow.
Sounds amazing.
Sounds like a s'more.
There you go.
I'll have some more of that.
Hey. I went and played Prairie Trivia today.
How was that?
I did awful.
Just like our trivia, too.
No.
They had
Also,
a
I think
great
they
time.
misread a question and I got very upset. You want me to tell the story real quick? It'll be 30
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah.
Did you get kicked out of Prairie Trivia?
I did not. But go hang out at Prairie Trivia Sundays at 4:30. Our guy Adam works Sundays up at Prairie, so go get some beers from Adam. Enjoy some
goat.
trivia. The trivia question was the South Vietnamese Army's full name was like the People's Army of South Vietnam or whatever. But what did they actually go by? The answer was the Viet Cong.
Yeah, that's what I
The
would've
Viet
guessed.
Cong were North Vietnamese, not South Vietnamese.
Ooh.
Oh.
So you know what I
Jacob
wrote down as
saying,
my
"And you'd
answer?
be wrong. I'm assuming what the right answer should have been.
Well, I didn't. There wasn't a right answer because they weren't called anything. So my answer was not the Viet Cong,
Ah, that's smart. See what you did
and I
there.
got it wrong because I put not the Viet Cong.
Well, that's what you get for being a smart aleck.
Well, they need to consult a history teacher first.
That's right.
Let's do some Prairie trivia. We have trivia from our two homies in the Discord, Rob and Smoot. The weekly disclaimer: I have not vetted any of
Oh my
these
gosh.
questions, so if they are wrong, A, I don't care. B, sign up for the Patreon. Complain to them. Question
Boom.
number 1 comes from Rob. Which NBA player has the most points in the finals all time?
Oh,
All-time points in the finals. Most finals points all time. You guys ready?
Ready.
Yes.
I'm ready.
JD, let's see it.
LeBron James.
Taylor?
I went MJ because I saw a tweet today that he has the most points per game in an NBA Finals.
Interesting. And
I
then
said LeBron as well.
Lyndon B. Johnson.
secret hooper.
brother could hoop. The answer is Jerry West with 1,679.
Wow.
Interesting.
Okay.
Question 2. Which player holds the most points in a single finals game?
That feels like a stat I should know, but I have no
Yeah.
idea.
Do you want a hint?
Yeah.
It will not help you at all, but it's a fun
Sure.
fact. The number is 61 points.
Oh, of course, that helps.
Is it some old bastard? I almost dropped
Wow.
an F-bomb.
It is some old bastard.
Dang it.
I don't think you can say that.
What, dang it, or old bastard?
That one.
Oh,
We're probably talking about a legendary basketball player.
can we say dirty old bastard? D-O-B?
Yes.
Only if we're talking about Karl Malone.
Ooh, Bill
gosh.
Russell's a great one.
Bill
My
Russell.
answer is Bill Russell.
Taylor's got Magic Johnson. JD has Wilt Chamberlain. The answer is Elgin Baylor.
What?
What?
Man.
I would
Hell.
not have gotten that.
Laker
Question 3. Which
domination.
player holds the highest career finals scoring average?
Oh.
Taylor,
Taylor
your
literally
information
just
was
say it out
wrong.
loud?
Just for what
Oh. He averaged like 40 points. Yeah, I saw some tweet about
That's helpful to know because I was about to write
Twitter,
LeBron.
Twitter is not a good source.
it.
Sources, trust me, bro. Wow. Average per game. Is there a sample size? Like, is it going to be someone who played one finals game but dropped like 40 points?
Don't know. Played in 2 series. 67 and
series.
75.
Ew.
Wait, those are the years?
Yeah, 1967 and 1975.
God, this
I know. I'm awful with historical stuff.
is gonna be some guy named Mickey Redbottom.
Why is his bottom red?
From working at the factory after his,
Getting- Getting belt? Anyway. I don't know.
All right,
The
you guys
fact
just
that you
want
told us the years makes me feel dumber.
I know. I just
Bill
went
Russell.
went with what Justin had last time.
It's
It's
Bill
Paul
Russell?
Bunyan.
Are you saying that's right, or are you just reading Taylor's
I'm just
paper?
reading
was just
Taylor's.
reading.
The answer is Rick Barry at 36.3,
Sure, why not?
not Mickey Redbottom. Let's go to some more trivia questions. This time from our friend Smoot.
I was going to get on to you because I was like, Bill Russell was in a lot more than 2 finals.
Smoot says, question 1. This whole season, Smoot has been tracking games versus former Thunder players.
What a
Who is
sicko.
the former Thunder player the Thunder will play against in the NBA Finals? Who is the former Thunder player that the Thunder will play in this NBA
Ooh,
Finals?
I've got this one. Yes.
Same.
Let's see them, boys.
Tank Commanders mount up.
Tony.
Tony Bradley.
Long-term
Tony Bradley.
NBA
Tony
Thunder
B.
legend.
Good stuff.
Also, I also have a bone to pick with trivia, Jacob. I pulled up the tweet that I saw earlier today. NBA Communications. Michael Jordan holds the record for the highest scoring average in a single NBA Finals at 41.0
In a
points.
single
Single.
finals.
Single.
Oh,
Learn how to read, you nerd.
Oh, yeah, you
Boo.
nerd.
boo.
We don't recognize single
Single.
finals over here. Single, stingle, ready to mingle. Thunder
Pringle.
and 5.
Tingle in my Pringle.
Tingle in my Pringle. Thunder and 5. Question 2. While the Thunder have no former Pacer players on this roster, they do have former teammates. Who are the 2 players who formerly played together that will be playing against each other in the finals? Hint, they were teammates before entering the NBA.
Oh.
So there are 2 guys, one for the Thunder, one for the Pacers, who were teammates before their NBA days.
Trying to remember where this player went to college, but I'm gonna go with it.
Silva was erasing his whiteboard so hard his camera was shaking.
Are you
'Cause
sure
I was
that's
thinking
what he was
about
doing?
I was thinking about this quote I saw from. Oh, I don't want to give any hints. I don't think it's even accurate. Okay.
You guys ready?
Yep.
Let's see him. JD, what you got?
Chet and Andrew Nemhard.
Oh, that's the right one. Well done. I
Taylor,
had
what'd you put?
Obi Toppin and Shea.
I said Nimhard and Shea.
The answer is Chet and Nemhard.
Let's go.
Gonzaga.
Good pull.
Well
Good
done.
Gonzaga.
Silva.
You guys
I
say
was-
Gonzaga or Gonzaga?
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga.
That's what I've always said, but I'm
Yeah, I
not
don't
very
know.
good at
If
that.
your nickname is the Zags, it's not the Zogs.
The Zogs.
right,
Come on.
Calling them the Zogs
Zogs.
sounds like you're like so
Gonzaga.
pretentious.
what
Yeah,
the
I-
Zog doing?
I almost said Lou Dort and Ben Mathurin because I saw Lou Dort talking about how Ben Mathurin was like a little brother to him or something the
Oh.
other day. But
Gonna treat. Ben
Lou was
Mathurin like a little
Arizona
brother.
State. Ben Mathurin was Arizona, I believe.
Question
I was big
3.
on Ben Mathurin in the
Removing the team's history as the Seattle Supersonics, the Thunder have not won an NBA championship. The winner of this finals will win their first NBA championship in franchise history. What was the last finals between two teams who had not won an NBA championship?
Oh, I saw this tweet the other day, but I can't remember who it was.
I sent it to you guys in my notes. Let's hope I remember correctly.
Oh god. Oh god. Was it? Do we have any? Was it recently?
It was recent-ish, if I remember
Recent-ish.
correctly.
Recent-ish.
Recent-ish. Oh, I remember. I got it.
A matchup, two finals
Ooh.
teams where neither had won a title before. It was the last one before this.
I got it.
Ready?
Ready.
Oh,
Ready?
Pause. Put him down. Dave has arrived.
Hey!
Game
Hey,
1 finals. Here
hey,
I
hey.
come. Dave. All right. Thunder winning game 1. You heard it here first.
Look at that.
Dave,
Dave
I'm going to
coming
lobby
through.
for you to get a championship ring, buddy.
That's
I love
right.
that. Love
Hey.
that.
If Dave leads us to an NBA title, can we send him a shirt?
I think we should
Absolutely.
send him a shirt
Yeah.
regardless.
Dave
Oh,
will
yeah.
send you a
Shirts.
shirt.
We need to send Dave a shirt.
All right.
All right. What's your
Ready?
answers?
The correct answer is Miami versus Dallas.
Which was in 2006.
You guys all got it correct. Good job.
Trifecta.
Yay.
I like Smoots trivia questions because I know
Yeah.
them.
They're easier to guess.
All right. Thank you guys for
Thank
playing
you.
Prairie Trivia with us.
I don't know why I said thank you. I'm the one that played.
No, thank you, Silva.
All right. Let's take a quick break. On the other side, we are going to preview the Indiana Pacers versus the Oklahoma City Thunder NBA Finals matchup. We'll be right back. And we are back. Gentlemen, it is time to preview the NBA Finals.
What?
Game 1 of the NBA Finals in Oklahoma City. Thursday night, June 5th. Can't get here soon enough. Let's start off with looking at some stats from this regular season series. JD, could you pull those up for us real quick?
Jacob froze at the most
Yeah,
perfect moment. We can
You
hear
are frozen
Oh.
right.
but
You are
the,
frozen right now.
Make
somebody
it a little
must have a
flirty
picture.
face
Dang
and
it!
you're
I did.
little zesty.
What did you want me to pull up, Jacob?
No idea.
Is he gone? Oh,
He's back.
He's
I have
back.
a different tablet.
Thunder versus Pacers regular season matchup.
I have last 5. They played on December 26th. They lost. The Indiana lost both. First one they lost 114 to 120. Second one they lost 111 to 132. I didn't have this pulled up before, so this is just happening. This is just happening live.
Just raw dogging these stats right now. I love
Raw. I'm gonna look at Haliburton was 2 of 6 in the 120 to 114 victory for the Thunder. So that was tough. But Haliburton was not Haliburton at the beginning of the season, from what I can remember.
Thunder had no Chet.
This wasn't the
those
beginning
games.
of the season, really, though, right? One was December, late December. One was
Yeah.
was March.
True.
Yep.
And then the second one, he was 6 of 12, but a minus 19 in the game.
Yeah, I believe there was no Chet in either of those. No Caruso in one of those.
The second game, iHeart went out early after like 15 minutes due to some small injury. There was no J-Will, so the Thunder went small and blew them out of the gym. I believe I have this somewhere. I don't know if I can find it, but it was like they won by 20 after going small in the second half, which is pretty big. The Pacers did not have, it was Nesmith, I think, for one of those games, maybe the second one. But yeah, no Chet, obviously a big one. You talked about Tyrese Haliburton, Mickey Redbottom. Haliburton averaged 11 points, 3 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and 1 steal on 44% from the floor, 36% from 3, and the Thunder's 2 matchups against them.
Do I have a stat for you guys talking about Thunder Pacers regular season matchup? Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Ready?
This comes courtesy of ESPN. In the 4 meetings between these two teams over the past 2 seasons, Haliburton has averaged 12 points per game, his lowest average against any opponent during that time. His 10.2 field goal attempts per game are his second fewest against any opponent, and his 0.5 free throw attempts, drawn just one shooting foul in 4 games, are his fewest. Haliburton's 8.5 assists per game against the Thunder are tied for his 4th fewest against any team. Here is the stat. When guarded by Lou Dort in those 4 games, that is a total of 122 possessions.
Good sample size.
122 possessions. Haliburton has scored 8 points on 10 field goal attempts.
That's
In 122 possessions. Buddy
That's
Caleb sent me that today.
That's huge.
That's wild. That is wild. If he really is the what are they calling him? The Halle band?
They are.
Then Lou Dort is the U.S. Department of Defense, baby.
Now watch this drive.
Now watch this drive.
That was the most American sentence ever said on this podcast, Jake.
Your dad gum right.
Weapons of mass distortion. There was something there.
Mass
I'm not
destruction.
Sure Dortstruction. There it is.
I like it. I like it. Let's look at some playoff stats. The Pacers are averaging 117.4 points per game. The Thunder, 117.1. So very similar there. The Thunder are getting up 7 more shots a game than the Pacers. The Pacers are shooting an incredible number from 3, 40% on 33 attempts a game. Thunder taking 37 attempts a game. Both teams are pretty even in free throw attempts and free throw percentage. The Thunder having a better rebounding team. When we look at some of the advanced stats, though, let me get those pulled up for the playoffs. The Pacers have an offensive rating of 117.7 compared to the Thunder's 115.9. So 2 points per 100 possessions off. It's the defensive end where the Pacers defensive rating is a 113.6 and the Thunder are a 104.7.
Smoot in the chat saying people are calling the Thunder's defense Steel Team 6.
That's amazing.
That's a bar, Smoot. That's incredible. I love that. Turnover percentage. The Pacers, 12.7%. When you look at other teams the Thunder have faced in the playoffs, Minnesota at 16.3, the Nuggets at 16.1, and the Memphis Grizzlies at 18.7. The Pacers do not turn it over very much, guys. The Pacers do shoot the ball well. Their true shooting percentage is at 61.2, and both teams play at a frenetic pace. So just some stats to kind of be aware of as we head into this NBA Finals series. Now that we have all those stats knocked out, let's start here. Thunder offense versus Pacers defense. We just talked about the Pacers defensive rating isn't very good. The Thunder's offense is close to what the Pacers do as far as offensive efficiency. Justin, when the Thunder have the ball on offense, what are you looking for? What type of matchups? Who's defending who? Are the Thunder facing zone? What are some of the Thunder advantages, disadvantages? What do you got?
The obvious place to start is the place we always start. It's SGA. And I think the Pacers, again, we've probably had some form of this conversation in every series preview. What they do to stop Shai, I think, is going to tell you a lot about how the rest of the team acts and reacts for this playoff series. I wouldn't be surprised to see them doubling Shai, like kind of taking a similar approach to what the Thunder have done against other star players recently, where they try to just cut off the head of the snake and make the other guys beat you. I feel like that's probably the move if you're the Indiana Pacers. Double Shai, throw the kitchen sink at him, and then hope that you can force the ball into Lou Dort's hands. And if you get a Lou Dort that's hitting shots in Indiana, probably curtains. But there's a good chance that you don't get that. And that opens up opportunities. You'd much rather have this series live and die on the back of a guy like Lou Dort or any of the other role players who have not shot the ball super well throughout the duration of the playoffs. Force them to beat you instead of letting Shai go drop 40 on your head like he's prone to do against the Pacers. Otherwise, I don't know who you put on him. Like, probably Nembhard.
That's who defended him during the regular season.
But I don't think that's enough. Like, Nembhard, credit to Nembhard.
Not enough.
It's not enough. Credit to
solid
Nembhard.
Pacers left. but it's not enough.
Stop it. Credit to Nembhard. Game 6 against Brunson, he gave Brunson fits, but like the rest of that series, Brunson was doing a lot of whatever he wanted. Shai's not Brunson. And I think that gets tough.
But he flops like him, am I right?
Good one, Taylor. And so I think that'll be really interesting to watch is how the Pacers choose to defend Shai, and if they try to get the ball out of his hands to force the others to beat them. That's probably where I would start if I were the Pacers.
I think you're spot on, and the stat that really drives that one home is we talked about Haliburton's splits or his averages for the 2 games against the Thunder this season. Obviously, the series is going to be very different than the 2 regular season games the 2 teams played against one another. We know that, obviously. But 39 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds, less than a turnover per game, 1 steal, 1 block, 63% from 3, 91% from the free throw line, and 55% from the floor for SGA against the Pacers, with Nembhard being the primary defender for Shai.
Will we be calling him Nem Soft by the end of the series?
Here's how I see the matchups across the board for the Pacers defending the Thunder. Mickey Redbottom.
I need a Mickey Redbottom jersey.
That'd go hard, dude. I've got Nembhard on Shai. I've got Siakam on... Is Siakam on Chet?
Chet or Dub, and I kind of lean towards Chet as well.
Miles Turner on Hart. They probably put Hallie on Dort, is my assumption.
Yeah. I think
and then
so.
that leaves Nesmith on Dub. That's how I imagine they will match it up. JD, do you think they will play like that, or do you think we see zone?
I don't know how much the Pacers have played zone up to this point. Does anyone know? Because I don't know.
I didn't pull it, but it hasn't been.
The Pacers aren't known for being like a great defensive team. They're known for giving like high energy on that end. That's kind of how they seem to survive. They have some like toolsy defensive players. But if I were the Pacers and I saw what the Thunder did against the Minnesota zone, Minnesota is a much better defensive team than the Pacers, I think. I would be wary of doing that. They're going to be kind of picking their battles throughout this entire series, I think, the Pacers versus the Thunder. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I think there are more weak links on the Pacers from a defensive standpoint, and that the Thunder are going to poke and prod at, that the Pacers have been able to get away with up to this point.
Absolutely. You look at their bench bigs, the ones that get the most minutes. Obi Toppin get 17 minutes a game these playoffs. Then you get down to Jarris Walker, who I believe is injured.
Yeah,
gets about 10 minutes a game. Same with Thomas Bryant. So they are
Thomas Bryant had a heck of a game last night. That was crazy.
They are going to go. They're probably not going to go as small as the Thunder. They're going to, as big as the Thunder with the starting 2 big lineup. So I'll be interested to see what that looks like and if they switch much.
I'm curious how much we're going to see the 2 big lineup in this series too.
Agreed.
Like,
well, do we want to? Are we still on Thunder offense, Pacers defense, or do we want to flip flop? Because I feel like the 2
I've got
big
a couple
talk,
thoughts on the Thunder's offense.
I feel like the 2 big talk, Justin. Like if you want to talk offense with that
side,
but I'm more interested on that on the defensive end. But what do you got?
Fair. All I was going to say is when you were breaking down matchups, I think it's a little hard to peg where everybody goes against that 2 big lineup. I think it changes quite a bit with a single big lineup. But I think the last thought I was going to say about Thunder offense, Sylvie, you hit on the energy piece. Pacers love to force turnovers and get out in transition. And I think that every Thunder fan is going to hear this over the next 4 days. but there's so many similarities between these two teams. That's one of them. They love to jumpstart their offense by forcing turnovers and getting back on defense. And I think the concept of trapping Shai and throwing a double at Shai and trying to force him into bad passes to force turnovers, again, like it's similar to, we've seen every team the Thunder played in the playoffs try that to some extent. Denver had some success with it. Memphis had a little bit of success with it. I think both of those series probably go a long way in helping Shai prepare for that look. Minnesota didn't do it as much as I thought they would, but I think for me, that using that energy that they have, the scrappiness and the athleticism, I think that's a pathway to success for the Pacers.
Interesting. Flip side, as far as not a pathway to success for the Pacers defensively, but for the Thunder offensively, I'm really interested. And game one is going to be a bit of a feeling it out game as well. Gosh, the comments are insane, bro. We're game 4 and 5 in that Western Conference Finals. Were those blips on the radar? Was it something Minnesota was doing? Or are we finally starting to see the actualized version of the three-headed monster of the Thunder offense?
I talked about this the other night, but
they're not going to combine for 95, I don't think.
Why not?
They could. If they do. It's
over.
It's absolutely
it's
over. It's Jover. But those three seem very, very confident. They're finding their shot. We know how good Chet plays off rest. And you can see in the jump shot. To me, if Chet's jump shot has arc in it, he's rested and he's going to hoop. And if it's flat, he's not going to hit shots.
Yeah.
Getting that week off, I think, is going to be huge for him.
I agree. This is also, I saw someone point this out on Twitter earlier today, too. This is the first time the Thunder are resting while knowing their opponent, which I think is a really interesting wrinkle, too. The other times they were resting, they didn't. And so they're working in a vacuum. They had some ideas, but they're kind of working in a vacuum until that gets nailed down. They're full on Pacers mode, and they've probably been in Pacers mode for a while. No offense to the Knicks, but like Pacers have had this thing locked up. And so they've probably been putting a lot of energy toward figuring out the Pacers. And I think that's a fascinating wrinkle as well.
JD, I was going to ask you real quick. Outside of the main 7 guys in the rotation, which is starters and then cookies and cream, is that what we're going with here?
Probably need some more screening, but we can do that for this evening.
Okay. Who is somebody outside of the top 7 who you think has the opportunity to have a good offensive series? Smoot says the whole homies.
No,
I don't know about
I like that.
I still can't believe you said that.
Black hole.
I don't know about that.
Stop.
I don't know about that.
About the D boys.
This seems like a series where the Wiggins-Joe duo can play a lot, because the Pacers, I don't think, have a lot of guys that can take advantage of them off the dribble at all. Like, who can dribble the ball on the Pacers in a way that would threaten a Wiggins or a Joe other than Haliburton? I guess Siakam, but like that's not a matchup you would normally see.
Those guys.
And against the Pacers' second unit.
Yeah.
They don't drive to the paint a lot.
No.
Like they like a midi every now and then too. Like the Thunder. I was looking at stats earlier, but I don't recall the exact numbers. But they don't take a high percentage of shots in the restricted area, and so I think, to your point, Silva, that is a little bit different than what we've seen. You're still going to have to deal with screens. You're still going to have to fight over screens. Otherwise they're going to cook you from behind the arc. So I think that's still a concern with a guy like Isaiah Joe, for example. But I agree, you might see some more minutes for those two guys than you saw in the previous series. Another one I think is interesting is Kenrich. Because of the lack of size that the Pacers have, I could see Kenrich getting some burn again. He when he showed up, he's been awesome in the playoffs. I could see him having some solid minutes in this series.
This kind of feels like a matchup, and I don't know if you guys saw what Anthony Slater, former Thunder writer, said on the Russillo podcast, but he said, not trying to insult them, but the Pacers are kind of like a AAA version of what the Thunder have in terms of like their archetype. Because they are similar. Like the ways we're talking about the Pacers are kind of how we would be talking about. I have a lot of
transition stats I'm excited to get into.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
It sounds like we're kind of trending right now away from Thunder offense to Thunder defense.
Well, hold on, because I do have two really quick things that I think are important. We haven't talked about Miles Turner yet. You guys have talked so much about how the Pacers have and potentially can defend SGA. This is from Nekias Duncan. I thought was an interesting point. The average pickup point for Shai when they played them this regular season was below Indiana's regular season average in their meetings. Nembhard, obviously a really good on-ball defender, but OKC is more than willing to sprinkle in backcourt screens. So what does that mean in regards to Miles Turner? Well, if we are playing iHeart, like you all have talked about, and we can get into the small ball lineups, which I think will be very important in this series, but if you can get Miles Turner out onto the perimeter trying to guard those pick and roll actions, that opens up so much because the Pacers, unlike the previous two teams, don't have a lot of rim protection that the Thunder have played against. And if Dub and Shai are able to get to their spots either in the mid-range or around the rim, not to mention the things we saw when the Thunder have been breaking down the zone, things they learned from that Denver series that they implemented last series against the Wolves, there's so many back cut opportunities, I think, that they can just absolutely tear up that Pacers defense. But the other thing does relate to transition, and this is kind of interesting. Entering Thursday, the Pacers have allowed just 8.9 points per game in transition. The Thunder were second at 9.1, almost identical, which is wild. And we know this Thunder team is at their best, and that's not going to change when they're getting defensive stops and getting out into transition opportunities offensively. So how does that Pacers transition defense match up against the Thunder's transition offense is something I'm keeping a big eye on offensively. Oklahoma
City going to have to take care of the ball. We saw in the Minnesota series what can happen when they don't, and the Denver series. They're typically good about it, but that's going to be the impetus for them on offense. Is you cannot let the Pacers get out in transition, because I think you can match up decently in the half court.
I said this stat earlier, but do you guys know how many free throws the Pacers defense allows every game?
Tell us.
28.5.
Wow.
Which is number one in the playoffs in opponent free throw attempts.
Free throw merchant.
Yeah. Can't wait for the narratives.
I was going to say, Twitter's going to love that.
Mickey Mouse NBA championship for the Thunder. They won by shooting free throws.
This is a Mickey Redbottom championship, buddy.
Let's transition over to Thunder defense, Pacers offense. The Pacers, like you guys mentioned, do not turn the ball over much. The Thunder, generationally good defense at forcing turnovers. I do not say that hyperbolically. I do not say that in an exaggeration. It is literally generational.
Statistics, Holmes.
Absolutely. Guys, I think, especially defensively, this is a go small series.
Agreed.
And when I say go small series, I like Chet on Miles Turner just fine. It's time to empty the clip. It's the NBA Finals. I want to see 10 minutes a game of the Shai, Queso, Dort, AC, Dub lineup. Let Dub guard Miles Turner. I do not care. Switch everything. Let Caruso guard Miles Turner. Again, I do not care.
That's the one that I was thinking. Caruso.
I have seen
Siakam.
I have seen these wings lock down big forwards and centers. If you throw that lineup out there, there's enough scoring with that lineup, even if it's a lineup that's like Shai, Queso, AC, Dub, Chet. There's enough ball movement, there's enough shooting, there's enough spacing for that lineup to do fine offensively and just wreak absolute terror defensively. The Pacers are a good offense. The Pacers have been a good offense. I don't want to be overly confident But the Pacers played really great down the stretch of the regular season against a piss-poor Eastern Conference. They haven't seen a defense like this. They have not seen a defense anywhere close to what they're about to run into in Oklahoma City. They're going to hit a buzzsaw.
And Jacob, what they saw the second game during the regular season that the Thunder played them was that small ball lineup or iterations of it that you alluded to. But I don't think it's just the starters. Like there's so many different quote unquote small ball or single big lineups you can throw at them. I even think about that second unit. When Chet's off the court, you bring Iheart back in the second quarter, and you have Kaysen and Caruso at the point of attack. I think those lineups will be extremely effective. And then, like you said, you go with the ultra small ball or the death lineup, or like the starters with AC or Kaysen instead of Iheart with Chet as the single big. Like that's when you go for the kill. I just think there's so many variations of that you can throw at them, not only with the starters, but off the bench, that just will give them, being the Pacers, all kinds of trouble.
Yeah, I agree. The last two teams that the Thunder have played, the thing we've all said on this podcast is we gotta watch out for their physicality and them slowing the game down, because that's like what can kind of stop the Thunder. That's not what the Pacers do at all. Neither of those two things. So I think the Thunder can kind of play exactly how they want to play and use all the weapons at their disposal against this Pacers team, which is scary. In terms of what my prediction will be at the end of this podcast. But I don't know. I've just had same with you, Jacob. I have a hard time like looking for reasons to feel like I don't know where the advantages will come from on Indiana's side. Like what will the cracks be?
Yeah.
In the
here's the one thing, Justin, that worries me just a little bit is everyone on the Pacers can shoot.
Exactly.
They have a ton of shooters.
Yep.
The Thunder defense is incredibly good at taking away the rim, and they close out late to shooters. A lot of times they will throw Chet on like a non-shooter wing and let him roam. That option really isn't there with that Pacers starting lineup. And we talked about this a lot, especially in that game 4 against Minnesota, where when the Thunder corners would cheat in to help on the lane, Minnesota's response was to back screen those guys to get open corner threes. I thought the Thunder defense was phenomenal in game 5. The Minnesota offense also generated open threes that didn't go in. Mm-hmm. And those were from guys that are genuinely good three-point shooters who missed. Missing is part of the game. Can you rely on that with an Andrew Nembhard? Can you rely on that with a Pascal Siakam? Can you rely on that with an Aaron Nesmith?
Thomas Bryant in the corner from 3,
Thomas Bryant
we saw
too.
Last night.
I think I
think the Thunder are going to be okay cheating off Thomas Bryant, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's my point.
But just like the Thunder, they'll take contributions from everybody, right? Like they've had contributions from legitimately 12, 13 guys in this playoff run, and they've needed every one of them at different times. And I think you could say the same thing about the Thunder. Big minutes from Kenny Hustle, big minutes from Jay Will. Like guys coming in, even if it's in small doses, but giving you what you need in the moment, stepping up. Pacers are exactly the same. So I think that the similarity piece I think is interesting. To your point, Jacob, that's what I'm worried about in this series. We've seen Oklahoma City's defense not look very generational when the other team hits shots. And if anyone can hit shots home or away, it's this Pacers team. They've shown it. They won both games against the Cavs and the Knicks. They're going to be coming into Paycom Center not phased in the slightest. They're going to be coming looking for blood. Mm-hmm. That is a scary prospect for this Thunder team, because if they don't change how they're defending and they continue to pack the paint and close out late on shooters, I kind of think that's what the Pacers want them to do. And that's what I'm most curious to see is that still their strategy, knowing how the Pacers play, or do we see something a little bit different? I don't think it's going to be a total like identity change, but I think there's probably something else that the Thunder can throw at them that keeps a little more pressure on the perimeter than what the Thunder have had to do in other series. Because Minnesota, the narrative for them in the playoffs was similar to the Thunder. They can't shoot on the road. Denver, it was all role players, so that narrative kind of applies there, and Memphis was Memphis. But, like, look at the moments in this playoff
They had the Thunder
run.
Figured out, I heard.
That's what I heard that too.
Or at least Shaw did.
Look at the moments in this playoff run when the Thunder's defense had everyone frustrated, not in a good way, like we're frustrating the other team, but like Thunder fans frustrated. Think Game 4 Memphis, when Scottie Pippen Jr. is torching you, and you're sitting there staring at the TV going like, how is Scottie Pippen Jr. torching you? But just replace Scottie Pippen Jr. with Nembhard or Nesmith or Pascal Siakam or Thomas Bryant. Look at the Denver series when Christian Brown and Russell Westbrook and Aaron Gordon are torching you. Look at the Minnesota series, Game 3, Game 4. I think there's a real possibility that you have some games that feel like those.
Yeah.
I don't think the Thunder are going to lose by 40 in any of these scenarios, but I think game 4 in Minnesota is probably a good example, and I think it's great that the Thunder won that game. They were hot. They hit everything, and the Thunder rose to the occasion. They're going to have to do that against this Pacers team because they've been on a generational hot streak, and unless shooting variance trips them up in a nasty way, I'd expect that to continue in the finals, and the Thunder are going to have to be ready for it. To counterpoint my own counterpoint.
Double counterpoint.
Yo, dog.
So
I heard you like counterpoints.
I have a couple thoughts. The way that they get good looks is moving a lot. And again, that's where you can sometimes see the Thunder get out of position. When they're forced to move around, there's lots of screens, there's lots of actions. Guys can get lost, especially guys like Isaiah Joe. It can be tough to navigate and always stay on a guy when they're moving that much. The instigator of a lot of it, though, is oftentimes Haliburton getting in the paint.
Correct.
And that, I think, is what, to use my analogy from before, that's what cuts the head off the snake.
I'm not sure that's the head of the snake, though, which is kind of what I want to get to. But go ahead.
I think it's the catalyst for a lot of their offensive success.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can keep Hallie out of the paint, just like you can keep Anthony Edwards out of the paint, and let's be real, if you can keep Anthony Edwards out of the paint, you can keep Haliburton out of the paint. And I think that's the stat you read earlier, Jacob, when you were talking about Lou Dort on Haliburton. That's exactly what was going through my mind, is if Lou Dort with his big Canadian girthy body can, like, Haliburton's not he's not the physical player Anthony Edwards is, right?
I love that Canadian girth.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
A lot of Canadians playing for both teams.
He's not Anthony Edwards.
No, he's got a different style of game. But Justin, I'm with you. And one thing that, as you were going through that kind of worries me a little bit. We saw a lot of this down the stretch in that Game 6 the other night. Was high screen and roll for Haliburton instead of switching. The Knicks would try to hedge or play drop, and it let Haliburton get to that 12-foot floater game where he is really, really good. This is another reason why I like the go small strategy.
Agreed.
You do not want Hartenstein switching out onto Haliburton. Hartenstein almost exclusively plays drop. And if you do a hard hedge on the screen and roll, Haliburton's hitting the cutter every time. Like he's a very gifted passer.
Yep.
That's why I like the small ball. I'm cool switching a Lou Dort, Chet Holmgren, Haliburton, Miles Turner pick and roll. I'm fine with that. Like, I will live with that 10 days out of 10. So I think the Thunder have to attack the pick and roll with Haliburton a little bit differently because he wants to get to that 12-foot little float game. And that's you take away that bread and butter, and you make the role players beat you. You make Miles Turner beat you. You make Ben Shepherd beat you. You make TJ McConnell beat you, which, by the way,
TJ McConnell ain't beating you.
McConnell.
Look, I'm just gonna say it. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Indiana, bench white guy, really preppy kid. Probably shopped at Abercrombie and Fitch. Probably went to a private school. Grew up upper middle class. This is just based off of reputation.
Okay.
Thunder, bench white guy, lifetime invite to the cookout. AC is going
to give him hell. I agree.
The white on white crime is going to be incredible.
Hopefully he's not guarding him.
So you
Yeah.
guys, it's
Yeah,
true,
it is a-
true. But
someone
in
much
those
better.
second units at the start of the second quarter, I could definitely
Yeah.
see it, and that's where they're going.
Cason Wallace.
Be in big trouble.
Cason Wallace
Will feast.
is
Yeah.
gonna be like a
In terms
demon against that.
talking
man.
about guarding Haliburton, in terms of the stars, because the Thunder have seen quite a few star players now, heading into the finals at this point. Is Haliburton the third best player they've seen up to this point, and they've had to kind of game plan for?
I think that's fair.
Probably.
I think so. But the difference is Indiana is not heliocentric at all. Like Halliburton's been awesome, but that's where it can feel similar to what the Thunder are trying to do. Though Shai can feel a little heliocentric at times. Us Thunder fans that watch every game know like this is everybody contributes and gets involved offense. Indiana's very similar. And I think that's why I'm curious to see what the adjustments look like defensively, because this is probably the first team the Thunder faced in the playoffs that does not kind of revolve around that main star presence. You could argue that once Ja went down, that's what Memphis became. And in game 3 and 4, they kept things a little closer than Thunder might have liked, given that it was just everybody stepping up.
Right. Which is why I wanted to push back a little bit and say that in the half court, I think you both are exactly right when you're talking about the 3-point shooting and how the Thunder are going to match up with the Pacers. But I push back with Haliburton not necessarily being the head of the snake for this Pacers offense. And here's why. I promise I'll be quick because we're going long. Taylor's Nerd Corner, maybe a new segment for the podcast. Silva, do you have a plus minus sounder?
Plus minus is basically a team stat.
Thank you. Welcome to Taylor's Nerd Corner here, where we're going to talk about transition offense and transition in general for the Pacers. In the playoffs, they are third in possessions in transition at 19.6, but first in points per possession and transition at 1.32. The Thunder are second in possessions per game and fifth at points per possession in transition. If you're able to shut down the Pacers transition offense, it's not just off of makes. We saw last night how dangerous they were just off made buckets and how that just completely basically led the Knicks running out of gas. If you shut that down, then you're making them play in the half court. And that's where you guys are talking about Haliburton struggling in his historical struggles, like Jacob rattled off at the beginning of the podcast, in the half court against the Thunder. That's when you're able to close out on 3-point shooters. I think if you eliminate their ability, and we know how great this Thunder defense is in transition, if you're able to take that away from them, make them play in the half court, yes, there's going to be a game, maybe two. We'll see when we get into our predictions, where the Pacers 3-point shooting allows them to win a game, probably at home, maybe 2 games. But ultimately, I don't see how this team is able to win a 7-game series if the Thunder are able to focus on that.
I love
Taylor's
it.
Nerd Corner is over.
Nerd Corner.
Nerd Corner and Brad and Brother.
Excluding
Oh.
Shai, who are the 3 biggest X factors in this series for OKC? We need at least one bench player. JD, I'm going to let you go first. Who is your X factor, not named Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, for the NBA Finals?
I'm just gonna go for the one of us says this every preview episode. I'm gonna go for the low hanging fruit. I'm gonna go for Jalen J-Dub Williams. I kind of want to see if he's officially turned the page on his stinkers of the past. He was pretty awesome most of that Memphis series. Not Memphis series, good lord. We just keep playing blue teams. Keep playing blue teams. The Timberwolves series. Play blue teams the entire playoffs almost.
It's all blue.
All
Everything's
blue.
Although, isn't Indiana only wearing yellow uniforms?
That is correct.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, no, J-Dub's the guy. I think he'll have a decent. J-Dub's already had more difficult matchups. Like anyone that was guarding J-Dub in the previous series, whoever's going to be guarding him in this Pacers series will be a worse defender, I think. Looking forward to seeing it. There's going to be guys he can attack if he wants to. He can attack Haliburton. He can attack if Obi Toppin is out there. That's food. Thomas Bryant, that's food. There's just going to be a lot of options. I don't think he's going to be intimidated by them in a way that a team like Denver can intimidate you.
I like that, Silva, especially when he's playing in lineups with Shai sitting. I think that's a really good point.
I saw some talk around, the moment of the finals. Like, are any of these guys going to feel starstruck because of the stage that they're playing on? to me, what I think is interesting about that, yes, it's the finals. Yes, I think there's going to be some of that. But I think when you look across the court and see the Indiana Pacers who are in the exact same position as you, that takes some of the nerves away versus if it was the Boston Celtics, for example.
And
right?
it's not
like,
the Miami Heat with
right?
LeBron, Chris Bosh, and
exactly. Like if you look over and you see defending champ Celtics staring you down, that probably like plays into the fears a little bit. But like the Pacers, and this is not a shot at the Pacers. It's just that the Thunder and the Pacers are in the exact same position. Neither of these teams have ever won a title. It's been a long time since they've been to the finals. They're both super young. They play a lot of guys. I think that takes some of the nerves off of it. So for J-Dub, I don't think that is as much of a concern for me, given what we've seen in the Minnesota series. I think he's going to be ready for the moment.
Taylor, who is your X factor for the NBA Finals?
I think the player I've been thinking the most about for this matchup or over the past couple of days, and even more so as we've been talking throughout this podcast, is Chet Holmgren. And because of a lot of the things we talked about on both sides of the ball, with the Thunder really needing to lean into small ball and going to the single big, Chet's going to have a really big series. If he's out there spacing the floor and hitting his threes and is drawing Miles Turner out, because I mean, at a certain point, maybe the counter for Rick Carlisle is to have like a not Nimbard, Nesmith out there guarding him to just be able to try and keep Turner around the rim. But if Chet's able to draw Miles Turner out from around the rim and then just be able to play the way we've seen from him and be aggressive and take Miles Turner off the dribble and attack the rim like we've seen, it's going to make this team very, very hard to beat so long that Mark is willing to, like we've seen throughout the regular season and the playoffs, lean more into that small ball. So Chet is mine for those reasons.
Justin, we need a bench player.
Well, thankfully, there's an easy choice here. Alex Caruso is the correct answer to this question. Alex Caruso has been the X factor in multiple games in the playoffs and probably every series of the playoffs. And I fully expect that to continue. I think his versatility is going to play a factor. We've talked about it a little bit. Like throwing him on Miles Turner is going to be interesting. Who else does he draw in a matchup that might feel unique? Does he get minutes on Haliburton?
Absolutely. He'll guard Siakam too.
Right.
I think he'll guard Siakam a lot, actually.
He'll guard 1 through 5. And I think seeing what he'll be able to do is going to be fascinating. And then on the flip side, offensively, the changes they made using Caruso offensively in that Minnesota series, I think were awesome. And he had some big 3-pointers in timely moments. I think if the Thunder want to hoist the trophy, they're going to need more of that from Alex Caruso, especially on the road when they go to Indiana. Needing a guy like him to step up in big moments and hit timely shots, I think he is a definite X factor.
I love it. Last little preview piece before we get to some Q&A and then wrap it up with our predictions. JD, what is well, let's do this. Finish the sentence. Pacers win the series and the NBA title if
they shoot the lights out.
Taylor, Pacers win the NBA Finals and hoist a trophy if
they're able to maintain that pace of play and transition offensively, and they find a way to shut down Shai and make the other players hit from outside for the Thunder.
Justin, the Pacers hoist a Larry O.B. trophy if
Rick Carlisle out adjusts Mark Daigneault.
That's a great one.
Okay.
We haven't talked much about that.
Championship coach Rick Carlisle. I think that's probably we haven't touched on it. And if you don't mind, can I take a little side detour?
Yeah, go ahead.
A short one. Carlisle's a fantastic coach. He's won a championship. He's been building in Indiana around Haliburton. He's done a fantastic job of that. I think from a X's and O's perspective, that is the biggest challenge the Thunder have faced in the playoffs. They had an interim coach in Memphis, and no disrespect to that Swedish guy that I don't remember his name, but like not Rick Carlisle. You had an interim coach in Denver who David Adelman earned plenty of respect because he made awesome adjustments. But again, not Rick Carlisle. And then you had Finch in Minnesota. Mad disrespect to Chris Finch. He is the king of the bozo mode train. Just not it's never an X's nose thing with Chris Finch.
He's still crying about fouls.
It's
Exactly.
It's foul calls and vibes, right? Like that machine is all based on flow state. And when it works, like game 3, they're awesome. And when it doesn't, it's pretty ugly. That's not Indiana at all. And I think what Carlisle is probably cooking up right now to face this Thunder defense, I think that OKC is going to have to adjust with a counter, because I think he's probably going to find, again, with this time frame, right? He's got 5 days to spend some time trying to come up with stuff to attack this Thunder defense. I expect to see some weird stuff, and some of it might not work, but I think some of it, I think they'll find some success.
Yep.
My Pacers win the NBA Finals if statement will be if they are able to both generate and hit a large number of threes, and they win the turnover margin battle. JD, the Oklahoma City Thunder hoist the Larry O'Brien Trophy and win the first ever title for Oklahoma City if
they shoot higher than 34% from 3.
Okay.
I think that's extremely fair.
Taylor, the Thunder hoist the Larry O'Brien Trophy, and we are at a parade if
the big 3 continues to continue to play in tandem like they have and step up on the big stage.
Justin, the Thunder hoist the Larry O'Brien Trophy and host a parade if
I was going to say the exact same thing as Taylor, so I'm riffing. I do think the big 3 is a huge piece of this, but what I'm going to say instead is if they can contain the Haliburton.
Yeah.
Okay. Carpet bomb it.
Hey, you can have mine, and I can go with
proven to work in the past.
And I also think if Mark is willing to go away from the double big lineup and lean in
when the
on
Thunder
small.
win this series, I need someone to Photoshop Tyrese Haliburton's silhouette into the little
the under the bunker in the tunnels.
Yes, I couldn't think of the name.
Saddam's hiding place.
Yes. I knew
the Thunder hoist the Larry O'Brien Trophy if this is going to sound really cocky, and this is going to sound really like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, oh,
that Riz Thunder was out of pocket.
If they play the same brand of basketball they've been playing for 6 months.
I think it's a sign of a good team that one of us has said that thing in every playoff series before.
I was just about to say that.
And damn it, if it's been true,
yes,
and they've won.
Here's the thing. We've been talking for an hour. Here's the thing. Pacers, good offense. Thunder, good defense. Right? Like great defense. I think when you look at that side of the ball, I would give the Thunder the slight edge, their defense over the Pacers offense. Flip side of the coin. Pacers defense, kind of doo-doo. Thunder's offense sometimes misses a lot of open shots, but is really figuring it out. Both sides of the ball, I take the Thunder's production. You look, best player in the series is
Shai.
It's not close.
Not close at all.
Best single unit in the series is the Thunder defense, and it's not close. When you have both of those things, the Thunder have home court advantage in the series. Like when you look at when all these things start to stack up, we can get really deep into the weeds with all of this. The Thunder are the better team. They have the better player. They have the best unit. They have the home court advantage. All that being said, let's hit a few fan questions before we make some predictions and get out of here. I believe Justin is checking out the live stream to see what questions you guys have. Silva is combing through our Twitter account, and I've got our Discord. Silva, do you got one ready for us?
Yeah, I was looking for. There was one from Mick Tapper23 on Twitter that just says Haliburton isn't invading Paycom. This ain't Iraq.
I like it.
One from Ducky on Twitter. Who plays more minutes in this series, Isaiah Joe or Aaron Wiggins?
Good question. I'm going Wiggs.
I agree.
You want to keep going?
Let's kind of bounce around here. So I'll go. H-Dub from the Discord says, in what ways are the Pacers a more or less favorable matchup than the Nuggets and the Wolves? What player should we expect to have better matchups against the Pacers than our other opponents? That's a great question. I think Wiggins is one that has a better matchup against the Pacers than he did against these previous two matchups, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Wiggins minutes in the finals. What about you guys? Player matchups that you think are favorable for the Thunder?
I think Chet stands out for me.
Okay.
Chet has had to go up against some insane size in this playoffs. Zach Edey, Nikola Jokic, and Rudy Gobert. And now, Miles Turner,
Siakam. They don't have a post player like that.
Exactly. And I think that one I think is going to be really interesting. What does Chet do when there's not a massive body under the rim?
That's why I chose him as my X factor. I agree. I think for me, I'm going to also go with another member of the Big Three and go with J-Dub, because obviously you have some defenders in the Pacers starting lineup that can defend him, but especially there with the quote unquote second unit at the beginning of quarters when Shai is sitting, I think there's a much better advantage for J-Dub in those lineups in comparison to especially if Mark goes small or single big in comparison to the previous two series. So I'd go J-Dub here.
Wyatt in the Discord says, I know y'all talk about the X factors for OKC, but who do you think could be the X factor for Indiana?
Siakam.
Same two-player. Oh, that's a great one.
I think it's
That's
Siakam.
probably it. I was going to say,
your conference finals MVP, Pascal Siakam.
That's right.
I'm going Aaron Nesmith. I think the Thunder will sell out to stop Siakam and Tyrese Haliburton. Nembhard, has been playing really well. Aaron Nesmith is shooting 50% from three these playoffs. I just don't know if that's sustainable. Some of the stuff he was hitting in that New York series was insane.
Yeah.
He's an X factor for them for sure.
I'm going to say Obi Toppin. I think Obi is a guy that doesn't often play to his ceiling, but when he does for this Pacers team, I think it elevates them quite a bit.
Just like last night. I think you're right.
Just like last night. So what version of Obi Toppin shows up in the finals? I think that could be an X factor.
You guys touched on all the names that I think are important. Maybe like an honorable mention to a player like a Ben Mathurin. If he's able to come in that second unit, the Thunder kind of are lacking defensively, and he's able to get hot for a quarter.
That's fair.
That's how the Pacers could potentially win a game or two in this series.
Another Discord one, and then we'll move on to Justin to hit some in the chat. Skeltor83 says, who are the top 5 players in these series? How many belong to OKC and how many belong to Indiana?
You just want to rank them?
We said Shai number 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who's number 2?
Haliburton, probably.
I'd give it to Hallie, the way he's played these playoffs, but it's close with Dub.
So it's number 3 Dub?
I think
Three's
so.
Dub.
Number 4?
I was
Chet.
almost going to say Siakam was 3, but Dub is.
Oh, I'd put Dub over Siakam.
Yeah, that's
So,
fair.
I'm fine going with Siakam at 4. I think that's
Yep.
probably.
And then Chet at 5?
Of me, and then Chet at 5.
Yeah,
I
Chet
agree.
at 5.
So Thunder have 3 of the 5?
That works.
I like that. Justin, we have any questions in the chat tonight?
We do. We've got one from our guy Cooper. Which Pacers role player are we most worried about going nuclear? Different from X Factor, but like who do we think could light us up from deep, I'm assuming, or just anywhere?
Naismith always stands out in that regard.
Naismith is the one for me.
That's the one. Nembhard, too. He's shooting like 46% from 3 or something like that in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's insane. Their whole team have outrageous shooting percentages.
They do. They absolutely do. This is a good one from Smoot. Thunder have home court advantage, but the Pacers have been great on the road this playoffs. What's your take on that?
I think it's that's more of a statement about the teams the Pacers have played rather than home court advantage in general. They played a Bucks team. Who were the 3 teams they played? They played with the
Bucks, Cavs,
Bucks,
Knicks.
Cavs.
Bucks with Dame blew his Achilles out, so there's issues there. Cavs had injuries and just like a lack of dog in the playoffs. It's a tough one. And then the Knicks are a strange team.
7 rotational players, basically.
Yeah,
The gas is going to run out eventually.
I think it's interesting that the Thunder have only lost one home game, and it was the game 1 nightmare against the Nuggets. And on the flip side, they've had a large number of blowouts. I do think that's going to be interesting. Like, I agree, you can't ever read too much from a game 1, but I think game 2, regardless of what happens in game 1, did the Pacers keep it close, or can the Thunder get a big lead? Because in every other series, in one of the first 2 games, oftentimes game 2, the Thunder have been able to get out to a pretty sizable lead. Are they able to do that against the Pacers in the finals?
You know what's
I'll be
interesting?
keeping an eye on that.
I was thinking about this the other day. Game 2s have been great for the Thunder. In all 3 series, game 2s have been great.
Yeah.
Then you think about game 3s. The huge deficit in Memphis, where they fought back and won. The loss in Denver that went into overtime.
Yep.
The complete and total shellacking they took in Minnesota.
Yep.
Game 3 is the interesting one for me, guys.
And
Agreed.
on the flip side, the Pacers have been bad in game 3s in the playoffs.
Interesting.
They've been sitting on 2-0 leads, and they've lost game 3. I know in the last 2, did they lose it against the Bucks too? Yeah, they did.
Wow.
That's the only game
That's
they
a
lost
great
against the
call out.
Bucks.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They lost by 16 to the Bucks. They lost by 22 to the Cavs, and they lost by 6 to the Knicks.
And then
So that'll be a real. What's the opposite of an unstoppable force and an immovable object? It's a stoppable force and a
an
movable
immovable
object.
object. And then you look at game 4s for the Thunder. Hard fought game in Memphis. That's won on basically like a Shea Midi. That dog fight in Denver where the Thunder executed down the stretch. And then that incredible playoff game in Minnesota where OKC just had an answer for every Minnesota run.
Yep.
Game 4s have been like the nut up or shut up game. And credit to the Thunder. They've nutted up. I think it's time for us to make some prophecies and some predictions for the NBA Finals. Silva, before we do that, let's look back at our prophecies and predictions so far.
Yikes. That's a lot of no's.
Justin, why don't you read your prophecy for the Western Conference Finals and tell us what happened?
I said Chet, number 7, logs a game with 7 blocks. In reality, he went 2-0-0-3-3.
Taylor, you want to tell us your prophecy and the result?
My prophecy was that Chet has his first 30-point playoff game against his hometown team in Minnesota. He had 15, 22, 10, 21, and 22. So not very close.
JD.
I said Anthony Edwards gets ejected in one game. He picked up an early tech in game 1. I thought I was maybe going to see it, but no.
I said Shai gets a triple-double in one of the games. Game 4, he was 1 rebound short of the triple-double, so I did not get it correct. Nick went the Thunder starting lineup is not the same for every game. He was also incorrect. Do not take advice from us. Shout out to Thunder Chick for the graphic. We greatly appreciate you and for tracking this stuff for us because we don't do our own work. Gentlemen, let's make prophecies for the NBA Finals. JD, can I get a prophecy sounder? I feel like I'm about to get abducted and
Not
probed.
a good prophecy sounder. It's not.
Justin,
Yes.
stare into your crystal ball. First, show us what looking in the crystal ball looks like for you. Beautiful. What do you see?
What I see is building on the back of the weirdest stat that Knicks fans uncovered in the Pacers series. Did you know that if Tyrese Haliburton makes his first shot of a game, it drastically affects how the rest of the game goes versus if he misses his first shot of the game? When Haliburton,
Yes, I've seen that.
When Haliburton makes the first shot of the game, the Pacers win 71% of the time. He scores 22 points a game, shoots 52% of the field from the field, and 44% from three, and takes 15.4 field goal attempts. When he misses his first shot of the game, they win 60% of the time. He only scores 15 points a game, shoots 40% from the field, takes 12.8 attempts, and shoots 31% from deep. So my prediction is Haliburton misses his first shot in every game of the series.
I love it, Justin.
Call that the torture chamber.
I like
cool.
that.
That's cool.
Taylor, what is well, first show us what looking in the crystal ball looks like for you.
Then you just kind of like last time. You got to rub it a little bit, maybe shake it up.
I feel like this is a setup.
Taylor's very violent with those fingers. Look at that. What are you doing with that ball, Taylor?
Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust.
Taylor, what do you see in that crystal ball whenever you violate it?
We after I break it.
Taylor looks like Jason Wallace going for a steal.
We briefly touched on the foul discrepancies and how the Pacers are a little more foul prone. So I think the Thunder are going to foul out over 4 players this series.
Wow.
4 different players?
No, just total.
Or four total foul outs.
Over 4 total foul outs. I put the over under at 4.5.
Okay. Nice.
It's good.
Mickey Redbottom.
That's what they call me. I'm a Hall of Famer.
Show us what the crystal ball. Okay.
That looks like a telescope.
What do you see? What do you see when you look
Looking
at
very
that bad boy?
closely?
Oh.
I see Tyrese Haliburton scoring less than 20 points in 4 games in this series.
Wow.
I think Haliburton. Side note: I think Haliburton has a tendency to disappear in games. We've seen that in big ones. He
Halliburton's
scored.
been talking a lot on social media the past.
Yes, he
couple
has.
days.
He's kind of a front runner. He scored 8 points in the game against the Knicks. He just has a tendency to like go away. So I think
Then he'll hit buzzer beating almost threes that bounce off the back of the rim. And crazy.
All right. My prophecy.
Show us the crystal ball, Jacob.
You got to look at the
don't get out
ball.
of this.
He's casting a spell.
Looks like he's doing a TikTok dance.
My prophecy. I've been sitting on this one. I've been thinking about it. I don't know if I like it, but it's a prophecy. I can't control the prophecies. They just happen. J-Dub. Finals MVP.
Ooh.
I don't want that.
Interesting. Did you
I
say
don't want that at all.
you don't want that?
No.
Why?
I want for SGA's legacy. Give me that Finals
boy.
MVP.
Here you go.
Look,
Hey, I didn't say I liked it.
How many SGA Stan accounts do you run on Twitter, Silva?
I don't run them. I just see them.
Did any of y'all read Zach Cram's piece comparing the 2025 Thunder to the 2015 Warriors?
Not yet, but I have it queued
It's a
up.
great read. Made me extremely uncomfortable to read before the finals. It's the kind of piece that I would have much rather liked to read when the Larry O'Brien is in Oklahoma City. But it was talking about the number of similarities between that Warriors team and this Thunder team. And one of the things that it talked about was comps between Andre Iguodala and Alex Caruso. And he asked the question, is there a world in which Alex Caruso's finals MVP? And after I read that, I thought, yeah, like, yes, absolutely.
If Alex
there is.
Caruso was finals MVP, I will immediately, once the Thunder win, I will custom make a Thunder number 9 jersey that says Finals MVP on the back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I will
Yes.
wear it. I will wear it to every game I go to next year.
That's amazing.
Has Nick sent in a prophecy?
He is not.
Or is he in Chechnya?
Chechnya.
What if Nick was just like covering the war in Ukraine right now? This is Crane in Ukraine live on the ground.
Crane in Ukraine.
Why?
Oh.
How did we get here?
It says Ukraine, but it's spelled like his
Yes.
last name.
CRAIN.
That's amazing. He's
Incredible.
just like a side hustle as the correspondent for the BBC.
You hear a in the background. He gets an exclusive
Yeah,
sit-
guys. That's where I got Thunder in 6.
He's got to sit down with Putin, Zelensky, gets him to the table.
Yeah, he's the mediator.
Justin, will you hit the few supers we have before
I
we
would
make
love
our
to hit the
finals
supers.
prediction?
You guys are amazing and keep giving us supers. First one from our guy Alan. If this is 3-0, that's a big if. We need a Discord watch party ready for the sweep. Get it done fast so I can have a new shirt and hat to wear to Florida. Thunder up.
Love it.
I love the practicality of rooting for a sweep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. El Sombra Regio 7. NBA fans should be glad it was Indy. They're the only East team left besides Boston and Cleveland that we wouldn't totally demolish. New York or the Bucks we would sweep.
You ain't wrong.
Ain't wrong.
Also from El Sombra Regio 7. Also, I rewatched the 2012 finals and the 2016 Western Conference finals, specifically Game 6.
Why'd you torture yourself, brother?
Exercising the demons now because that parade's going to be dogmatic AF.
Love it.
So
That's a true sick.
one thing I always think of in my own brain, we pull that back up real quick. And El Sombra Regio is a homie. Like, we chat a lot, so he knows I'm not attacking him in this, but I do find it funny. The spelling he used there is like the demons are going to be on like a treadmill getting like a workout in, exercising and not exorcising the demons, like casting them out.
Oh my gosh.
Working them out.
I like that.
We don't want buff demons. El Sombra
Demons are
Regio.
on the off-season grind already.
All right, JD, playoff predictions. Let's look at our standings so far.
I almost started playing the outro music. That's just like a muscle memory when you do that.
JD.
All right, JD.
And we've been going for an hour and 23
Yeah.
minutes.
What'd you say? You want a prediction?
Yeah, I want the predictions graphic.
Oh, this thing.
All right. The Western Conference Finals.
Woo!
JD and I took Thunder in 6. These other 3 jabronis took Thunder in 7. JD and I even texted about how we should have went Thunder in 5 and we didn't.
Yeah, guess what? We all got the same number of points.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Ones across the board.
Eastern Conference. JD and I went Knicks in 6. Taylor and Nick went Knicks in 7. Justin, Knicks in 6.
Whoa.
When we look at grand total points, just me and Nick are in first place at 16. Justin has 15.
Did you just say that I took
No,
Knicks
you
in
took
6?
Pacers in 6.
Yeah, I took
not-
Pacers.
Oh, I'm sorry,
in
Pacers
6.
in 6. I'm sorry. I'm
Please
sorry.
give me that respect.
I'm sorry. You
As
did
fun
a
as
wonderful
Knicks in
job.
6 is to say. It was
Knicks in
Pacers
6. Pick up sticks. I have 16 points. Nick has 16 points. Justin has 15. JD 14. Taylor 13.
This is close. That's fun.
That is
It
close.
is.
Thanks, Pacers.
Which means it is time to make our NBA Finals predictions. Any volunteers to go first?
No.
I do have a question. Is there any way I can win?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get
If
3
you-
points, and the
If
rest of
you
us.
get
There's also a
if-
way we can tie.
If you get
Yeah.
your prediction correct and you pick differently than everyone else. So that
Okay.
means
So,
get ready to learn Pacers, buddy.
well, no. There's
How bad
other-
do you want it?
There's
No,
other ways.
just go with your heart.
I'm gonna go
Nicky
with the
Redbottom,
way-
what do you got?
Nicky Redbottom is saying, okay, do I want to win this game that we're playing, or do I want to predict what I actually think will happen?
tell
What
me.
you actually think will happen?
I'm going to go with, I went Thunder in 6 last series. Kind of playing it safe. Told Jacob I was an idiot afterwards. Should have went Thunder in 5. I think the Thunder are much better now than they were at the beginning of the playoffs. I'm confidently going Thunder in 5.
I like it. Taylor, what do you got?
I'm torn on this because, like, I think the Pacers are good enough to win 2 games against this Thunder team, but this Thunder team hoisting their first finals championship trophy in front of an opposing team fan base just doesn't seem right to me. So that's where I was torn between Thunder in 7 and Thunder in 5, and I'm with Mickey Redbottom. It's hard to see this game or this series going to 2-7, so give me Thunder in 5.
Justin.
I hear you, but seeing this team hoist the Larry O'Brien, you're covering my face with the
That was on purpose.
Like I just got Mike Wazowski. Trying to make a prediction here. What was I saying? Okay, yes, yes. Seeing them hoist the trophy at home would be phenomenal. I love that the players kind of acknowledged that was some motivation in Game 5 against the Timberwolves. Like, I think that's super fun. But seeing them hoist the Larry O'Brien trophy in Ukraine alongside Nick would also be awesome, right? Like, I don't care where it happens, right?
Fair.
Just if it happens, that's amazing. So as much as the poeticness of it happening on their home floor would be awesome. What about the airport meetup after they fly home?
True.
That would be
I'll climb the fence.
rabid. You probably wouldn't be alone. I'm taking Thunder.
Cutters.
I'm taking Thunder in 6. I think the Thunder are the more talented team for all the reasons that we've talked about all throughout this show. I think the Pacers are suited to exploit some of the flaws that the Thunder have, especially on the defensive end. As historically good as this Thunder defense is, the Pacers have the tools and they have the coach to take advantage of the weak links. And I think that could get them, that could add competitiveness to this series. Like, I haven't seen a ton of people outside of Pacers fandom calling for. I think it's going to be hard fought. I think you're going to have some very stressful moments, but I think Thunder get it done in 6.
Nice. Thunder have the better player in the series, the best player in the series. They have 3 of the 5 best players in the series. They have the best unit in the Thunder defense of any other unit in the series. Their offense, compared to the Pacers defense, I think is a bigger gap than the Pacers offense to the Thunder defense. They have home court advantage. They have been the better team since October. I'm going Thunder in 5.
Didn't they pass the 80-20 mark?
They
That
did.
happened?
80-20 mark.
Insane.
They're hoisting the Larry OB in Oklahoma City. And I think it's going to be the same structure as it was in the Western Conference Finals. Win-win, loss, win-win. They'll lose game 3, win game 4 in a tight one, and then come home in game 5 and just beat the ever-loving breaks of Indiana. The last 2 closeout games that this team has played on their home court, they have forced the other team to bench their starters with 8 minutes left.
That's crazy.
Like, Denver was in a game 7. It's like win or your season is done. Win and you advance. And they said, not even worth it. We're going to put our guys on the bench. They made the Wolves do the same thing. They're going to do the same to the Pacers.
They made them bend over and kiss their butt goodbye.
One thing I do predict that we can't necessarily track, but I think these slow starts are over with. I think they know how rare an opportunity this is. They've been talking about Caruso showing him his ring earlier this season, like in all these post-game pressers. I think they all are going to seize this opportunity and snatch the game away.
But to that point, if anyone could come out and punch you in the mouth, it could be Indiana.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they did to the Knicks and the Cavs.
True.
If they come in game 1 and start hot, like if they start hot, it's what was the game where the Thunder were down 10, like in the blink of an eye?
It was like several, but I don't know.
Well, I think I'm thinking of Minnesota game 3, so not a good example. But there's been a couple times. It wouldn't surprise me to see the Pacers do that in a game. I'm not saying every game, but in a game. But I agree. It feels like the Thunder's growth throughout the playoffs is going to pay major dividends. The tests that they have faced and overcome, I think they're not the same team they were game one of the Memphis series.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that's what I keep coming back to. Like, yeah, Memphis fans could hypothetically say they had the Thunder figured out. But if you ran that series back right now, Thunder would win it in 3. Like, this team has reached a different plane. I think we're going to see them playing their best basketball yet in the finals, which is a scary thought.
You bring up a good point that I hadn't really thought of, Justin, in that I understand the Pacers have beat some great teams in this playoff run, but have they really been tested like the Thunder have through these playoffs?
Nope.
I'm not sure they have. Exactly.
No.
No, they haven't.
I want to, before we get out of here, I also wanted to expand. My prophecy was J-Dub Finals MVP. I got J-Dub at 24, 5, and 5 on efficiency and holding Eastern Conference Finals MVP Pascal Siakam. I don't know what he's going to hold him to, but he's going to have him in hell.
Yeah,
True.
it's not.
He would deserve Finals MVP if that's the case.
This was a cool stat from ESPN. DOC each averaged 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists entering the finals last 50 years. Dub and Shea, Jokic and Murray, Giannis and Middleton, and MJ and Pippen. Wait, no, sorry. Yeah, MJ and Pippen.
That's insane.
That's good company.
Also, something we haven't given the Pacers a ton of credit this podcast, but the best records in the NBA since January 1st, the Thunder at 53-13 and the Pacers at 46-18.
Still 6 games better.
Yeah.
The Pacers
playing against a Western Conference versus a piss poor Eastern Conference.
Yep.
Do you know, because I saw this right before we started podcasting and it blew my mind. Do you know what the Pacers record was through 25 games?
Probably bad. 10-15.
That's exactly what it was. 10-15. They are the first team to ever be that bad to start a season and make the finals.
Wow.
Can I
That's
say
crazy.
something to that?
Yes.
The East sucks.
Yeah.
It's true.
It is. You're not
It is
wrong.
also no coincidence that Pascal Siakam just went off and won conference MVP, and the day after that series ended, the Knicks put out a hit piece on Karl Anthony Towns through whoever it was.
Yes, through The Athletic. You're right.
Like, this guy hates playing defense.
Yep.
And we hate him. Like, it's not a
crazy.
coincidence.
No, not
Time
at
to get
all.
out of here.
Probably so.
Yeah. It's going to be a long 4 days.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for being along for the ride. None of this is possible without those of you who listen and tune in. We appreciate all of you so much. We ain't going anywhere. We're going to have another pod for you before the finals begin. We're live after game 1 on Thursday. We're live Sunday after game 2. And then you get content from us from Indianapolis for games 3 and 4. Come hang out with us in the YouTube comments. Join the Discord. Follow us on social media. Buy some shirts over at Cotton Bureau. We got a lot of cool ones. Justin's been cooking. 4 days. Just bask in it. It's going to be a blast. We will see you guys Thursday night. Until then, and as always, Thunder and 5.